Hello my friends, Orla here and welcome to day 4 of our training on how to transform your brand in 5 days. So this training has been jam-packed with content. We have looked at why branding matters, confidence in your brand and what you stand for, building your tribe, brand positioning, and today we're going to look at style and visuals and give you the confidence in understanding what's required there. But by now, you will understand the importance of a strong and positive brand, and you are on the journey to creating that. You know your brand values, you know what they are and how to use these to create a brand purpose. And you know who your brand hero is and the benefits of a brand tribe. And you also know where you are positioned in the marketplace. So that's quite a lot. So in the introduction video, we looked at, a strong and a positive brand. And ever since then, we've been giving you advice and tips on how to create that. And by the end of this training video, you will know what colors, images, and fonts best represent your business and how to share these consistently. So it's a really tricky one, isn't it, when somebody's talking you through visuals and branding, because I am not a designer, so I am not best placed to offer any design tips. I would imagine you have an idea of what it is that you really want in terms of the look and feel of your brand, the colors that you want to use, your logo. If not, I would recommend that you speak to a designer. But the general rule of thumb is that your visuals and your logo and your fonts and all of the brand collateral that you are going to share is that they would be what your values would be like if they were brought to life. So think back to day 1 in this training and you wrote down 3 to 4 values that define you and your business. Now I want you to imagine if they were brought to life, what would they look like? What colors would best represent them? What fonts would I use? What kind of imagery would I use in my branding? And then we just set about doing that. So there's a few things that I want you to consider. When it comes to authenticity, lots of people talk about authenticity as a brand value. It's certainly one of mine. Would you really use stock photos or photos of you? Now for me, it's definitely a mixture because I don't have enough photos of me. They would bore you to tears. But it's very much about getting that right balance. But certainly on my social media and certainly on my Instagram and my Facebook, I try to share real imagery as much as I possibly can. So if I was doing a quote about the power of reading or meditating or learning or growing, I would share a photo of me doing those things, because that is more authentic to me than something that's perfectly curated. If one of your brand values was about being fun or cutting edge, what type of colors would you use? If you're about fun, would it be black or grey, or would it be more red, orange, yellow? Have a think about what colors you would use. If it was cutting edge, would you use the same colors that everyone else is using, or would you go for something different? Would you use the same type of images? Would you use the same type of quotes on social media that other people are using? Or would you use something different? So when you think of the images and when you think of bringing your brand into life and when you think of what you're going to share on social media, on your website, the tone, everything that you're going to share, it's essentially, these are my values, these are my customers, and how you bring your values to life to communicate with your customers. Now, there's always going to be a touch of color psychology in all of this, and there's so much. Pinterest is your friend when it comes to color psychology. It's absolutely makes sense. So basically, there are tons of studies on color psychology, on the effects of it on people. On an average, each color represents an emotion or a state of mind. So before you fixate on one color, try to understand the meaning of each. Now, when I got my colours chosen, I actually went for a colour consultation with a colour consultation specialist. It was very much based on my mood, my meaning, and she had loads of jars up on a wall, and she got me to pick the colours that resonated with me most, and actually they were my favourite colours. My favourite colours are green and pink. So it was really, really interesting to do that because there's a huge psychology attached to colours. So if we look at red there, passion, anger, vigour, green, nature, refreshment, growth, balance. Every colour has got a meaning to it. So once you know the general meanings of a colour, choose a colour direction with a feeling you want your audience to connect with your brand. So you might choose green, but then you might look at a different shade. You know, you might choose black. If you notice that lots of high-end beauty ranges have got black in there because of obviously the luxury, it's sexy, the glamour. So choose the colours, and then you can choose the different shades and then at a different date or on consultation with your designer. Because Pinterest is your friend when it comes to choosing your color palette, those 3, 4, 5 colors that will work together to build your brand. Pinterest is absolutely amazing. And all you have to do to go into Pinterest is pick the colors that you want based on the psychology, you know, what's connecting best with you, and type into Pinterest and they will give you some palettes. And from there, you can actually build your own color palettes or again, chat with your designer. In addition to your colours and your fonts, you want to look at your brand images, and I would always recommend that you get professional photos taken and choose a photographer that can capture the real you. Lots of coaches, when they're getting their professional photos taken, it's very much about, you know, like the strength and the sexiness and all that. Like, I totally agree, and it's something where I aspire to take my brand to. But for now, when I'm sitting down working with people, it's very much like we're having a cutting edge coffee. So we're having a coffee, we're going through everything in their business, where they're at, where they're not at. So I wanted my photos to be me sitting down having a coffee because I wanted to come across as friendly, approachable, but also obviously being highly specialist in what I do. But by having those photos that capture the real me, I just found it considerably easier to build those connections with people because I'm not trying to be someone else or they're not staged. So once you have an idea of your colours, and I'm sure you know them already, and I'm sure you have got photographs already, this is where we get down to the most important thing. And the most important thing is the consistency. And the consistency across all platforms, because you're going to be doing like multi-platform campaigns, whereby every way that you promote yourself, we want them all leading back to the same way. So if you've got business cards, if you've got a website, if you're going to shows, your social media, your LinkedIn, everything needs to look uniform. It doesn't have to be the exact same because obviously you're going to adjust it based on the platform, but you want the same logo, you want the same branding, you want the same call to action, you want the same customer journey. So use Canva to create templates and images you will share online so they can be customizable. And if you're doing a Facebook advert, you would use the same branding that you might use for a Google advert or you might use for a mail drop. Everything has to tie in together. And Canva is absolutely amazing for that, and it gives you that consistent feel. So over in your workbooks, I do have a task for you. I want you to conduct a brand audit and ensure that every platform you are using to promote for your business has the same look and feel. So are you using the same type of language on all platforms? Are you using consistent imagery on all platforms? A really good way to do that is to first pick your favorite brand. So I did this recently when Jamie Oliver was promoting his meat-free meals. So he had a meat-free TV show on Channel 4 and he had a meat-free cookbook. So I basically looked at what Channel 4 were promoting, what Jamie was promoting on Instagram, what Jamie was promoting on Facebook, what his website was promoting, the latest book that was out. And Jamie, who's got had these restaurants at the time, who's got copious amounts of cookbooks, got all these things, he was all promoting the same thing, same look and feel. So everywhere I went, I was getting the same message, and everywhere I went, it felt the same, but it was adapted for that platform. So I wanted being that if you have a customer and they see you at a fair and they see your pop-up banner and then they come back and they look on your Facebook page, is the cover photo of your Facebook page, does that match your banner that you just had at that fair? Does your business card match your website, which then matches your social media? So go to your workbooks and let's conduct this brand audit. How to be the brand when you don't feel like it. And as faces of our brands, it's so important that we continue to be the faces of our brands. And the truth is, how you dress, speak, and present yourself is all an extension of your brand, and your values will dictate how you show up. And I think this is a really tough one because I have gotten such conflicting advice about how I should grow my brand. For the most part, it's been just continue to be the real you and just continue to be yourself. You like do your lives in your dressing gown, like talk about what you want to talk, swear if you want to swear. And that's been absolutely fantastic. But there have been one or two people who I absolutely massively respect who have told me that it might be better if I made small changes and looked at my appearance and looked at the words that I use and looked at what it is that I say. And I think it's about balancing out what it is that you want and who it is that you are. And I think we're all learning, we're all growing, and we're all evolving. So the brand you build today might not be the brand that you have in 5-10 years time. And it's important to acknowledge where you are now and where you want to go. So sometimes done is better than perfect. So I would much rather you came on and you recorded that live, you did that post, you sent that newsletter, and if it's not perfect, at least it's fucking done. And that's considerably better than waiting for things to be perfect, which doesn't exist, before doing it. So I want you to be the brand, and to be the brand, it's consistency trumps everything. And then take people on a journey by allowing your brand to evolve. So don't wait for the perfect images. Don't wait for the perfect graphics. Conduct your audit, make a list of the things that you need to do, and set out about doing those while you continue to be consistent in your marketing and on your brand building. Okay, it's over to you, my friends, and over to the worksheet. Ensure the look and feel of your brand represents your values. Ensure you're consistent across all platforms, and conduct a brand audit and an update as necessary. But remember, you're on a journey here. Everything doesn't have to be perfect now. What matters is that you identify where you need to change. Okay, bye for now, and see you soon in the final day of our training. I am super, super, super excited. Bye for now. Hola.